It's Missing Real with Mike Darrigo. Would you like to know more? This is for you new people. I only have 2 rules. Everyone listens and watch your mouth. You don't do your job, I'll blow your head up. Welcome to the Roughnecks. Roughnecks! Alright, that was a little over the top, but I'll take it.
Hey, it's another exciting episode of Missing Real, and yes, we're going back into another sci-fi classic of sorts here. It's going to be 1997's Starship Troopers, directed by Paul Verhoeven. And Starship Troopers has absolutely nothing to do with 70s progressive rock or Yes songs. In fact, at a running time of 2 hours and 9 minutes, it's actually a lot shorter than most Yes songs. But anyway, for this mission, I'm bringing on a little additional firepower. Yeah, I got another guest with me today, because I just can't keep doing this shit alone. And it's a special first-time guest, my friend from work. He's a constant source of mirth in an otherwise miserable environment, and never fails to make me crack up. But I gotta warn you, his sense of humor is not for the sensitive. So here he comes. He's crazier than a shithouse rat. He's mad as a fucking hatter. I'm gonna unleash the Kraken here. It is Quan Ngo.
Hey, Mike, thanks for having me on. Can't wait to actually talk to you about this movie. I'm not going to lie, it's definitely one of my favorites as a kid growing up, because I did see it when I was a kid, so it might have fucked me up. I don't know if I'm supposed to see that shit when you're like 8 years old, but we'll see what happens.
It's a bit traumatizing, like most of Verhoeven's movies. Have you seen most of his major Hollywood shit?
Give me a list off, because I'm not...
Well, all right, I don't expect you to go back into all the Dutch stuff, like Soldier of Orange, but like, RoboCop.
Oh, fuck yeah, okay, yeah, RoboCop was definitely the shit growing up, too.
Yeah, Total Recall, the first one, not the Colin Farrell one.
No, Schwarzenegger all the way.
That's right, Basic Instinct. You must have seen at least one scene of that.
Oh, I mean, it's the only scene that matters.
Yes, and of course, we got Showgirls in 95, where I guess he reached his creative peak.
Of course, I mean, the important parts.
Okay, so immediately following Showgirls, he brings us Starship Troopers, which is like the natural progression of things.
And let me tell you, what a fun fucking movie to see when you're, 8 years old. Blockbuster was still around. Oh, those were good times.
Oh man, I did. I must have rented the tape as well, but yeah, it was a good one. This is like, well, it was based on some Robert Heinlein novel, but I don't read much, But I didn't read that.
What was it? I rewatched the movie just so we can get a better introspective on this whole thing. And let me tell you, like, watching it now as an adult, holy shit, just the amount of when we actually got this movie back in the day as a kid, when I was a kid, like my friend's parents had no idea what this was. They thought it was just another Star Wars movie. So my friend lied to them. It was just like, oh, it's Star Wars, And, when Quan comes over, we're just going to watch it, And they're like, oh, yeah, sure. So they rented it for him. And it was like a Saturday in the middle of the day, and they just fucked off. It was great. And I went over to my friend's house. We watched it. And I just remember sitting there. Like the first 5 minutes of the movie was just bugs ripping people apart. And I'm like, second, third grade maybe, I don't remember, and I'm just like, holy shit, is that what that looks like?
Yeah, it's a little violent. I don't know how realistic it is, but let's just to get the statistics down. The body count is 256, and 17 gallons of fake blood were used. I don't know how many gallons of real blood were spilled. It's still pretty fucked up.
Oh yeah.
But and there's also a lot of like right-wing fascist kind of political commentary going on in there, which of course at your age, that time, it probably meant absolutely nothing, and at mine it means even less.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I did love Neil Patrick Harris's Gestapo coat. Like it was just sitting there, I'm like, I want a trench coat just like that.
Yeah, that was some cool shit, man. On the set, he earned himself the nickname of Doogie Himmler by wearing that thing.
Yep, so dope. I mean, not in a good way, but I'm just like, I do love that coat.
Yeah, no, I think you would rock that shit. You should wear it to work.
In a heartbeat.
So what do you think about this whole, the future, the year set is like 2197. I think the only technology they really have to really wow you is like iPads and FaceTime. Oh, and maybe space travel.
So what I was actually very surprised about it in the future is no one has grenades and everyone's got like a pocket nuke with no radiation problems. Like, I thought that was hysterical.
Oh yeah, well they must have like a vaccine or a pill you just pop before you nuke shit.
Never mentioned once, and they're literally just lighting off nukes like they're fucking firecrackers. It was amazing. And they're like 10 feet away.
Yeah, well, it's a tactical nuke.
Microwaves give you radiation. These fucking things don't. I don't care if it's the fucking future. It's not like we became immune to radiation. But anyway.
We could have evolved. It's like over 100 years from now, man. I don't know. How about the cast? Like we got
Casper Van Dien and Michael Ironside. Michael Ironside was the shit, and I'm so mad that he got so old. Like, the last thing I saw him in was the Flash TV show. And, like, he's still got that dope voice. He's got that deep, like, man, I don't know. Like, he should really just remain as a voice actor forever. I'm so pissed that in the Justice League cartoons and everything like that, they replaced because he was Darkseid. They replaced him with some other guy, and I'm just like, that's some weak shit.
Yeah, you know your Ironside pretty well. Yeah, and I've been a big fan. I loved him since, like, freaking, of course, Scanners, you know. And
when his head fucking blew up, yeah.
And V. He was, like, the only cool character on the V TV series. And even he got written out. I guess he wanted too much money or whatever. And he was in one of those, like, the later Terminator movies, I think. The Terminator Salvation. He was in the submarine.
Yeah, he got fucking blowed up because, I don't know, Skynet.
Now it's Waternet now. They'll find you anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I love Ironside. He's the shit, man. When he shows up in the classroom, like, you know, we got Professor Ironside here. He's missing an arm, which is funny because the last time we saw him in Total Recall, he was missing both of his arms. So I guess he grew one back, you know, after that elevator ride with Arnold.
Yeah.
See you at the party, Richter.
Yeah.
Can't forget that. But he's awesome.
Yeah, when he showed up in that scene, like, where, you know, they introduced, like, Casper Van Dien, Jack Busey, and that girl from Saw, and he just fucking showed up with, like, the metal arm, and I'm like, oh, it's so fucking dope. And then he just looks at his former students that from, like, what, a year or two ago, and he's just like, oh, look at this turd. All right.
That's the F there. That's the B minus. All right. Yeah, but he's awesome in this. And we're going back to Casper. What a cool name. I mean, you know, to be named after a ghost or a mattress company already is cool. Yeah. But where did he come from, man? Because before this movie, I think all he did was, like, Beastmaster 3. And, like, nowadays, you could see him in great fare, like Sharktopus versus Whale Wolf. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but, he did not jump off too well. I think the last thing I saw him in was, like, maybe early 2000s. It was, like, on that Stars Channel movie with, like, vampires, and he wound up dying. Oh, no, wait. The last thing I saw him in was Dracula 3000.
Yeah, one of those Dracula future
movies.
Horrible
movie.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. Pretty much any Dracula with a number after it would suck.
I don't know. I did like Dracula 2000 was dope.
Yeah, that was my favorite Scot who never speaks with a Scottish accent anymore.
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, man, I love that
Butler.
Guy. He is the best when he stays Scottish.
Yeah, and Hyde from fucking that 70s show was in there, and I don't remember who else.
Oh yeah, no, Dracula 2000 was cool. We had Jerry Ryan going around biting people.
Virgin Mobile was really big back then. Virgin was big back then.
Oh yeah, the Virgin Megastore. Yeah, Vitamin C stands in front of her own CD display. I remember that.
Yeah,
that was very meta moment there. I want to get back to Casper, man, and his career.
Oh, of course.
And let's not forget, we also have in this movie such acclaimed actresses as Denise Richards. You know, she was in.
Fucking still slamming.
Yeah, she was in Wild Things. She was in a Bond movie, and Charlie Sheen was in her. You know, great career.
Yeah, exactly.
She's pretty cool.
Got that tiger blood inside of her. Fuck yeah.
Yes. So like Casper or Johnny Rico is his character. It's like, you know, just joins up with the mobile infantry mostly because she's going the military route. But although he's going to be a grunt and she's going to be piloting ships. So that they're really not going to meet much. And after they have their high school graduation, whatever it is, they have that massive football game with like the anti-gravity
the indoor football game. Yeah.
Yep. And people could just like flip through the air, you know, like they're on wires and shit. Well, that was a very cool scene. Oh, speaking of flipping through the air on wires, do you know that other than Casper Van Dien, who I know you're a big fan of, we almost could have gotten Mark Wahlberg, Keanu Reeves, or Josh Brolin playing Johnny Rico. I think they all turned it down. Huge mistake.
I don't know. In the early 90s, I don't think I could see. Well, I mean, in the 90s, Keanu Reeves was Johnny Mnemonic, so he could definitely play the action role. Who are the other two? Oh, Marky Mark? I don't know. I don't think maybe. I don't know. Not back then.
I can watch him only in Rockstar, nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, and of course, maybe The Departed. Yeah, of course, The Departed.
Oh, fucking hated that movie.
What's the other fucker? Oh, Josh Brolin was way too young. You know, it wasn't like we're gonna have like Thanos in the infantry here, but.
What was that? When was the Goonies? That was like late 80s or early 90s?
Yeah, I think 86, 80s. I don't know, 85.
Yeah, no, he still would have been way too young for that.
Well, this was 97, so he could have. Yeah, he sprouted a few pubes by then, I'm sure. But just what if we had these people in a movie? Would have been amazing. But yeah, I mean, come on, man. Fucking Casper was good.
Yeah.
He did what he needed to do. Then they go off into space, and like there's a bug biology class. One of the Golden Girls is the bio teacher there. Rue McClanahan has a little cameo, and everyone's puking their guts out while they're gutting the bugs.
Yeah, she plays a blind biology teacher. I mean, there's just a lot of things wrong with that there.
You're cutting out the wrong organ there. Yeah, what are you doing?
Well, how the fuck would she know? She didn't touch anything.
No, she probably actually she does. I think she uses like, her sense of touch to check if you remove the proper bug organs.
Nope, she did none of those things. She literally just walked around the classroom and then tapped the wall with her walkie stick thing, then that was her scene.
It was a walk-on. All right, I guess it was like in between seasons for Golden Girls. Yeah, like let me do a Paul Verhoeven movie with a bunch of killer bugs.
No, I just mean in general. How the fuck do you have a blind biology teacher? It's not even biology. It's an anatomy class.
Well, she probably memorized it when she still had sight. I'm assuming,
Yeah,
but she didn't learned it by theory.
But she didn't even tell anyone. There's just like, oh, by the way, this is the heart, or this is the lungs, this is whatever the fuck are inside bugs.
It's all gooey. It weighs about 6 ounces. Yeah, that's the heart.
Exactly it. Yeah.
Oh, this other thing about this movie, it's a little bit derivative of stuff. Like you happen to notice, like sometimes when they're docking or leaving port in space, the music gets a little hornery. A little bit like James Horner's Star Trek music. Like when they're leaving space dock. Very, very much reminds me of that. And the composer, I don't really like the music for this movie that much. I'm usually a big geek about film score. This was the score by Basil Polidorus. Sounds like a Greek salad. But, he did score Conan the Barbarian, so he gets points for that. But yeah, the music in this movie, it's all military, a little bit of James Horner spacey shit.
I was going to say, when they do the first invasion of Klendathu on whatever fucking planet that was, that music, like the horns, like when they're, getting dropped off, like I'm like, oh, this is the shit. Like, I want to fucking run in there and start killing some bugs.
Maybe it's like Aliens theme, because like once they get in the drop ship and they head down to start, we're gonna get some.
Like you had the one chick who was like crying, the other dude who was puking. You got the one Spanish dude who was like cheering the whole way down. He's like, woo! I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's kind of awesome.
Express elevator hill.
Exactly.
Down. Just like that. It's cool, man. And when they finally do get to the planet, it's after all this like 90210 high school bullshit is out of the way. Then we get into like the battle sequences and all the carnage and the actual bugs. So I don't know how we ended up at war with them in the first place, because they're like another solar system away, and I guess like there's these like rocks and asteroids coming through space that are nuking and destroying parts of the Earth. Don't even know how did this all begin.
All right, so they like mentioned it in like that little propaganda flick in the beginning of the movie. The little propaganda commercial. They were just
There's
like,
a lot of those.
Yeah, no, but like the very first one in the beginning of the movie, they're like, right, the bugs like to send out meteorites that are filled with like eggs and spores and shit, and that's how they spread from planet to planet. And one of those was headed to Earth. That's the one that fell in like Buenos Aires.
Yep.
That's what started the whole war, yeah.
And then it changed, Johnny Rico's college plans. Like, all right, you can't go to college no more. There's no college.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing was, too, is they joined the military so they can become citizens of the Federation. And if you become a citizen, like, you get, like, special rights. Like, you were allowed to have kids, you were allowed to be a politician, and blah, blah, blah. If you just, like, lived your normal life, you were considered a civilian, and you didn't get dick for that.
And you can't wear that nice long leather trench coat like NPH.
Yeah, let's not get into that coat. Great coat.
If this episode really takes off and we make some profits, I'm sure we'll get you one, man. Don't worry about it.
Oh, so sweet.
So when it gets to boot camp, here's another awesome thing. Let's not even forget, we have Michael Ironside, but we also have another Highlander classic villain, Clancy Brown.
Yep. He was the guard in fucking Shawshank.
Of course, yeah. Pretty much. He's just awesome all around. He was like the monster in The Bride also, which is probably like his weakest role ever, but also very awesome in that. And he just kicks ass, if I may quote. Anytime you think I'm being too tough, anytime you think I'm being unfair, anytime you miss your mommy, quit, do you get me?
Yeah. And they all just fucking, they're just like, oh, well, he's the drill sergeant. We got to listen to him.
Who is your favorite all-time cinematic drill sergeant? I'm sure there's only two choices. Either or Arlie Ermey.
Yeah, exactly. Like Arlie
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
He's like the mold. That was what he was.
It was even that too. Like, it was that. But I'm just like the amount of like beautiful one-liners that came out of his mouth. Oh, I still use that shit for like today. And they're like, oh, how tall are you, son? He's like, oh, 6 feet tall. Jesus, I didn't really stack shit that high. And I'm like, oh. That's such a great line, huh?
It's absolutely brilliant, and there's no way I wouldn't just like bust up, cracking up, laughing on the set, and I would get sent to the fucking barracks or do like 600 push-ups or get whipped in public just for laughing. But dude, you're funny, man. You got potential, man. I'll put you up on stage at Dangerfields, man. Seriously. Now I like drill sergeant humor. It's great, as long as I'm not enlisted. I'd rather be watching it.
My favorite thing to tell all my friends that are in the military, I this is for all the listeners and stuff. If you have any friends in the military, one of the best things that always gets to them is like, be like, oh, yeah, no, I'd be amazing in the military. I do amazing in Call of Duty. You guys are fucking pussies.
Yeah, my fingers are really good, man. I could press, like, all these buttons. But, you're out in the battlefield, I don't know.
Exactly.
You can't hit pause. You don't get extra guys. Yeah, this is kind of like a gamer kind of movie because all the battle sequences are just so like intense. There's like so much shit going on, and it is a lot of computer animation, almost the whole thing, except like the close-ups. And sometimes it's just Paul Verhoeven with a fake mandible going after the actors off camera, like wearing a green leotard or something. But it was pretty cool. At the time, the special effects were like really out of this world, literally. But fucking cool.
No, I'm not gonna lie. Like the shit used to like freak me out when I was a kid. Like I said, I saw this movie when I was a kid. I still love the hell out of it.
All ages, man, especially like 5-year-olds. Yeah.
So what's actually funny about that, like, you know, a year or two later when like the movie finally hits TV and stuff, like, you know, I watched it with my dad, and like, you know, first 15 minutes, you know, you see people, they cut back to the scene like where they invade the planet and shit like that. And, you know, I'm seeing people getting stabbed and dismembered and like screaming in death. And then they go back to boot camp, and then there's like the shower scene where everyone's just standing around naked. My father makes me go like, you know, get out of the room. He's like, oh, you can't see that. I'm like, I just saw a guy get like ripped to shreds, like literally like limb from limb ripped apart, and all of a sudden boobs are bad. Like,
but he was wearing clothing. There's a big difference. But yeah, the co-ed shower scene. How, if you're watching it on television, you mean like regular broadcast TV? Because you're not going to see.
No. I meant like, you know, like was that like HBO or Showtime?
Oh yeah. You didn't have. I'm sure with your tech savvy, I'm sure you could just cut right through the parental lockouts if there ever was any in your house.
There was no parental lockout. He would just be like, get out of the room. I was like, for 5 minutes of tits? Like, really?
Yeah,
that's not even like they do anything. They're cleaning themselves.
I got to tell you, that's absolutely necessary. We did that in gym class, in school, as I recall. But I didn't get to see a lot of co-ed showers, unfortunately. That would have been better. And during that scene, actually, every single person in that scene, including the director and DP, were all naked, based on a dare, I think, from one of the actresses from Dean.
Oh, really?
So everybody was naked in that scene, and it was like no wardrobe department at all.
Good for them.
That's it. That is guerrilla filmmaking and probably baby making it.
It was, it's probably cheaper instead of like, having to fucking green screen it out.
Yeah, and like who needs to spend money on towels for shit's sakes? Yeah, just like, dry off in the sun. They've shot a lot of this outdoors in the sun, probably just dry off in a few seconds. Save water. The water budget. We already have a big blood budget. Why ramp up the water budget?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to other scenes. I know we ramble a little bit. So what's his name? Denise Richards there is getting the competition for Casper Van Dien. There is another dude who's a co-pilot, and he's like solid meth, little wild on the stick, but a natural. So yeah, he's she's not going to stick with Casper anymore, and there's going to be this whole like love triangle bullshit, which resolves itself very nicely at the end with a nice impalement to the brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, those scenes.
Spoiler alert for anyone who didn't see the movie. Yeah, no. What's his name? Muldoon, I think.
Patrick Muldoon.
Yeah, Muldoon. He he doesn't make it to the end. Well,
almost,
he got super close. Imagine like running a marathon and then just shitting yourself like 50 meters away from the finish line. Like that's Muldoon's character. Poor guy.
Oh, slipping over banana peel like 3 yards from the finish.
Exactly.
And shitting yourself too. It's humiliating. I think I'd rather shit myself than have my brain sucked out through a proboscis, but that's just me.
I don't know. It was in front of his, girl. I think I'd rather shit myself. Because if she'll stick to you after you shit yourself, that's a girl to keep right there. Also, it's Denise Richards. Like any shot you got.
Okay.
Any shot you even have a remote chance, you take that shot no matter what.
And she's like, hey, I was with Charlie Sheen. I've seen worse. Come on.
That's fine. I mean, Charlie Sheen's AIDS-ridden body can literally be next to her in bed, and if she asked me to join in, I would.
Okay. Well, I see what you like. You're a brave fellow.
It's Denise Richards.
It is. It's still. I haven't seen her much lately, but okay. Yeah, she was pretty much the hottest dish on the menu there at the time.
The 90s, yeah. What is it? The World Is Not Enough. That's where it was, right?
Yeah, she was Dr. Christmas Jones, and Christmas comes early this year, right? One of those. I think that's what Bond said. What else would you say? Yes.
Yeah, no, good for him.
Well, all I want for Christmas, I don't know, I'm gonna come down your chimney, or I don't know, some other bullshit line like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, not that I want to like dismiss all the accomplishments of Denise Richards, but we also had Major, played by Dean Norris from Breaking Bad. he pops up in a lot of shit. He was also in Total Recall.
Yeah, he was the dude who ran the fucking boot camp, right?
Right, and he was also mutated in Total Recall. I think it was Tony. He was one of the dudes in the brothel there.
Did he have a fucked up eye?
He had a fucked up eye.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, okay.
What are you there?
I remember the other guy from Call of Duty with the half a dude inside of him was the general as well in that movie.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I think they were all in Total Recall, and they all popped up here in boot camp because you're in tight with Paul Verhoeven when you work. Just we didn't have Sharon Stone anymore in a bunch of these movies. We could have used a little bit more of her. But the boot camp scenes go for a little while. Then they find out that the Earth got nuked, and Casper fucks up, and somebody gets shot. They get their head blown off. He gets the 10 lashes, and then they all go back to war. He re-enlists and stuff, and they go to the bug planet. They go to Klendathu.
Yeah, and that's where everything is just like it's shit. Humans land on the planet, the military's there, and they're like, oh, we fucking got this. And then, like, all of a sudden, you're just like, oh, wait a minute. There's, like, 1,000 of these giant arachnid, spiky death bugs things. And the whole, like, one of the things of the movie was like, oh, yeah, no, bugs don't take prisoners alive. They just fucking massacre you and move on. And they don't even give a shit about themselves because bugs don't understand the concept of death.
We try to teach it to them, but not successfully.
Yeah. That's what they're saying in the movie, and they're like, oh, they're the perfect warriors, they don't understand death. They'll just run straight in, and pretty much that's all the spider fucking arachnid things did.
Yeah, well, we tried to bomb them. We tried to use like a really big can of Raid and Black Flag and stuff. But what about the bugs' weaponry? This is another thing I don't get. Their weaponry consists of like shit missiles or like plasma poop that these bugs shit out into space, and somehow they find their targets. They hit all the military ships and they knock them out of orbit. They have some cool things, but that's the technology. This is what they battle with when they're not in close quarters. When you can't fight like mandible to hand.
Yeah, well, the whole thing in the movie was it's just like, well, let's do the poop shit aside, like the poop missiles aside. We'll put that aside. Aside from that, like on their home turf, their whole war was just numbers. They just outnumbered you. They didn't care. Like they outnumbered the bullets. They outnumbered everything, and they just bum rushed you the whole time. But
yeah, I guess they were kind of armored. You had to take like 50 shots unless you hit them in the nerve stem, like they showed you in the video. Nobody watched that. Like nobody's aiming at the nerve stem.
Well, in the beginning of the movie, yeah. It took like 50 shots to take one down. And towards the end, I think they started running out of budget for the bullets. They're just like, all right, fuck it, like 2 bullets per, it's fine. We'll just let's move this along. It's already been 2 hours. Let's hurry the fuck up.
Well, the bugs get creative though. They have new shit every time. Like you see a new set of bugs. Like there's one that has like the electrical flamethrower thing, and they weren't expecting that.
Oh yeah, what they call? Hold on, tankers. Yeah, those big guys with the flamethrower vomit shit.
That was excellent. And some of the bugs, I don't know why, the bugs kind of reminded me a little bit of one of the bugs that goes attacking Obi-Wan in episode 2, right? With the one that's like kind of like moving along with his little spiky mandible legs. And
oh, yeah, I remember.
It's almost the same exact thing. It's like they just took one bug from Klendathu and they tossed it in the arena there to fight Obi-Wan. And they end up riding on the back.
Yeah, the long giraffe neck thing, yeah.
Yeah, they took like a National Geographic and put it in a blender and it just came up with, all right, let's use this. But it was cool. I mean, and some of the effects were probably done by a Star Wars veteran anyway. Like I think Phil Tippett does all his puppetry and makeup and shit. I'm sure some of his monsters got recycled from or into a Star Wars movie.
Oh, no, yeah, either way. But it's still a great fucking movie. And you know what? I recently looked it up before and on Rotten Tomatoes just for shits and giggles. I was actually very surprised by the way people were rating this movie because other people, whenever they bring up this movie, they're like, "Oh, this movie was shit." And I'm like, "Really? No, this movie was awesome." And then I just had what was it? I had Rotten Tomatoes confirm it for me. How sweet of them.
I think Rotten Tomatoes is, the litmus test for everything. And I'm not sure how long it's been around because was it even in effect back in 97 when this movie came out?
I don't want to say 97, but definitely the mid-2000s. It was definitely up and around.
Well, yeah, because back then I used to just listen to Siskel and Ebert or whatever. Like, did they like this movie? Did they hate this movie? And even if they hated it, I'm like, I cannot wait to see this. It's going to be awesome.
See, for me back then, I was a kid, so I didn't give a shit about reviewers. But I only looked up the review recently just because for shits and giggles. And I was actually the audience score is still 70%, that the critic score is still 63%. I was like, oh, all right. Like, it's a shame that this movie didn't launch the careers of way more people.
Yeah, well, critics don't like that much stuff. That's why they're critics. I mean, if it was just like me reviewing movies, I would just say, oh, shit, this is awesome, like about everything. It's just like awesome to a certain degree or not.
Yeah.
There are some terrible movies in my collection that I will watch like repeatedly, no matter how shitty they are, because there's always something that redeems them.
I'm trying to think, like, I definitely have a few of those.
This isn't really that bad a movie. It has it has some cringe-worthy moments, but it's got dialogue and action sequences that you just can't get enough of.
Oh no, without a doubt. Like for example, why did you join the army? Oh, a girl. Did you really join the army for a girl? Like, you stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, there's a few girls in the army, and you get to take showers with them. So hey,
Yeah. Remember, Casper Van Dien's character, Johnny Rico, his whole thing was just like, I'm going to go because my girlfriend signed up. It's like, oh, you poor son of a bitch.
And she's not even officially your girlfriend. I would have done stupid shit like that back in the day, too. I know.
Oh, no.
I could feel for him.
No, without a doubt. But I mean, at this point, though, like, I don't think I've done dumb shit to, like, try to hook up with a girl. but never sign away my entire fucking life.
Yeah, he had to prove himself, I guess. And I guess he didn't really want to go to Harvard, even though I think his folks were like footing the bill. Like, nah, tired of classrooms. I want to shoot at some bugs, man.
Yeah, he was a rich kid from Buenos Aires. Apparently, in the future, the whole world is just, whatever, that.
It's all about being a citizen. I want to be a citizen. I'm tired of being a civilian.
That's what the whole shower scene was them telling him, like, why did you enlist? Oh, why did you do this? Why did you do that?
I don't know. I just like nudity, man.
Yeah, straight up.
On a large scale. Well, when the movie finally gets to the ending and you get the brain bug, which is essentially a giant anus with eyes.
No,
but,
that was a vagina with a spike hanging out of it. Like, it was just a large clitty spike that attacks you. The exact opposite of what anyone looks for in a vagina.
All right, I'll take your word for that. But yeah, but we learn what it does because actually they discovered one of their old operatives in the outpost, and Ironside's like, they sucked his brains out, but I would have sucked his brain dry.
Yeah. Well,
and then they find out that it sucks out your knowledge. It's like an intelligence smoothie. It just sucks out all your knowledge, and it knows what your tactics are now.
That was the whole thing. Like, at Fort Ticonderoga, that scene with the Roughnecks when they go to the base, they were tricked there because the brain thing, like, went on the comms and was just like, yo, like, SOS, like, we need guys to come in. And that's why they even went in. They're like, oh, they set a trap for us. Oh, the bugs are smart. Damn.
But luckily, Doogie there is psychic, and, like, he's able to use this brain power to help them find Carmen and the other, Muldoon guy before he gets his head sucked out, and rescue them and catch the bug in a net. And like, yeah, the ending is kind of like it's this action all the way, but like the very ending is kind of like, okay, we just bagged it and yay, we win. It's kind of like that. It wasn't like a huge battle. It was just the vagina spike.
It was a nice, happy ending. Everything's all wrapped up, and the Shawshank Redemption guard shows up at the end. And he's just like, oh yeah, no. Oh, Zim, I got the bug. It's like, yeah, it was me. Woo.
Yeah, it took a demotion, and now it matters, what I'm doing. It's cool. He's great. Yeah. It's an awesome movie. And then, like, the end, it kind of ends off with, like, you can still enlist and join the fight. It's not over yet. There should be, like, a whole bunch of sequels, but there were sort of were, but...
No. You said shit. You said shit wrong. There were sequels, but they were shit.
Exactly. Well, yeah, no, they were like straight to video, and Casper Van Dien couldn't show up, but he did a voiceover, I think, on one of them.
I still remember the end, like when NPH, Casper Van Dien, and the hot chick, what's her name?
Yeah, Denise Richards.
They're walking through the crowd of guys, and she's covered in bug juices and her own blood because let's not forget, 5 minutes before that scene, she got her collarbone impaled by one of the bugs, and no, they completely forgot about that. She's just walking around like, oh yeah, no. Not only that too. As they're escaping the cave, she's shooting a gun with both arms, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, how?
Ow.
Exactly.
That fucking hurts. Yeah. It's her limited acting pedigree. I mean, I have to tell you, truthfully, she was a nice hot dish, but man, her acting, wouldn't exactly call her. She's not fucking Meryl Streep, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think Meryl Streep turned down this movie. That's the only reason we had Denise Richards there. Otherwise, it could have been something completely different. Well, I do love this movie, and I tried watching the sequels, and they really did suck. So it's like, it's too bad, because we could have used a little bit more.
Yeah, I was a kid when the sequels came out, and even I knew back then. I'm like, this is fucking terrible.
Yeah, no, you had standards already because you saw this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never been a case where a movie comes out, it sort of sucks, but then they make sequels, and somehow after 3 or 4 sequels, it becomes amazing. Like, it never works that way. It's always the reverse. It's always Dark Knight. Maybe, yeah. All right, but Dark Knight was good.
Yeah,
and then it just got awesomer as you go.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you that one. Okay.
But the other Batmans, I don't know what you want to call them, the Warner Brothers, the Michael Keaton to Val Kilmer to George Clooney Batmans.
Fucking Schumacher with nipples. Fuck yeah. That's neon lights.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we all want that costume, but the movie itself was, I wouldn't want any part of that.
I can't badmouth either one of those movies because, I mean, love Jim Carrey, love Tommy Lee Jones, Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, horrible casting, still loved it.
It was great. Yeah.
They turned Bane into a Pokemon. It was fucking great. He just walked around, kept saying his own name. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. It's great.
Well, he's nothing like Tom Hardy. I mean, Tom Hardy, he probably says much more intelligent things. You just can't understand them through the mask. I don't know. I like Poison Ivy. That was about the only thing I liked about that fucking movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Starship Troopers kind of wrapped, I don't know if there's much else to say about Starship Troopers, but...
I want a fucking remake. That's what I'll say about it. I want a remake. And I wanted to, like, no woke bullshit. Just make it fun and just as campy as the original. Throw in the random propaganda and just, make it fun, action-y. Just, pretty much an action movie where you get to turn your brain off for 2 hours. I miss movies like that.
And it isn't even about like, the attention deficit disorder where like every shot has to be like 15 cuts and like a music video and zooming in and have songs playing through everything. It's just like, something that just takes you on a roller coaster ride and it doesn't let up. And it's kick-ass. Like this was. I enjoyed
it. Really was, yeah. It was one hell of a fucking kick-ass ride. I was also surprised at all the people that died. I was just like, oh, that guy we were talking to, oh, he's dead too. Oh, shit. Oh, the second love interest, the girl, Dizzy, we didn't even talk about her. She fucking died, and then she got like a Spock tribute, like funeral into space.
Yeah, they shoot her into space, and if she lands on Genesis, maybe we'll see her again next time. I don't know, but she's like the only body they were able to bring back.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I would have taken like the top half of Ironside, man, giving him a little bit of a nice military funeral.
Yeah, I love the way he died too. He went out like a badass. He's just like
sucked in.
Yeah, he got sucked in. His legs were gone. He came back out. He just yells at him. He's like, yo,
you know what to do. Yep. And then they steal his lines. Do you want to live forever?
Yeah.
Rico's Roughnecks. It's got to have the letter R in it,
I was thinking that too. I'm like, Jack Busey's character, if he took over, they're like, oh, Ace's Roughnecks. I'm like, it kind of works, but not that good.
Yeah, Ace's assholes. Yeah. I like Jake Busey, man. He's like such a like spitting image of his fucking batshit crazy dad. I would have loved if Gary Busey was in there playing one of the he could have played the Zim or somebody else like that, but then it would look like nepotism or something.
No, that too. I mean, Jack Busey's kind of. I'm sorry, not Jack. Gary Busey's kind of lost his fucking mind.
Yeah, I know, but that was part of the joy of watching him. Like it was already like on its way out every time I saw him in a movie. Like, yeah, he's not playing with a full deck.
No, I mean, what was that? He crushed his skull in a fucking motorcycle accident.
Yeah, but that was a very long time ago, way before all the movies I loved him in. So I don't know, maybe it helped. Maybe just getting the right kind of knock to the head. A proper concussion helps your films. I don't know. Yeah. Let's do this one thing, I think, because I felt bad. When we were talking about doing this episode and like all the movies you wanted to do, I'm like, sorry, did it already. Fuck it. Sorry. You're picking all the good shit that I already picked. But this is what I think
no worries, man. No worries.
We could do a lightning round, or I had a cool idea, like for the first time ever on this podcast. I wanted to do like a what if. So let's just say, what if instead of the coronavirus, which is ravaging our planet right now, instead of the coronavirus, let's say it was the Thing instead. How do you think we'd be functioning as a country, as a society, if the Thing was taking people over all over the planet?
We are royally and completely fucked.
What percent of the Earth is not human anymore?
Well, pretty much if you live in Alaska. Oh wow, it doesn't even show up.
Oh, you have a gun.
I do actually.
We're doing this on Skype, so none of you listeners know what the fuck I'm looking at right now.
I apologize. This is not a video medium. This is just an audio.
One day maybe I'll graduate to YouTube, but yeah.
But if the Thing ever took over, well, I know I'm not gonna make it to the end, but I know I'm gonna live longer than most people because I already don't like people, and I'm extremely paranoid sometimes.
Yeah, you're not gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. You're just gonna roast them, right?
100%.
If you even look at me funny, whoosh.
Yeah, exactly. You pronounce words wrong out of nowhere, like I generally intentionally do just to fuck with people.
Yeah, just a little trigger happy. But I don't know. And how I don't know if you were a Thing. I mean, how would you even know? You're going to act exactly like the person you just assimilated, and you know everything that they know. You'd be able to get all the secret passwords, and where were we in the summer of '87? And when I was like stooping your girlfriend there or whatever, and then you're just checking to see if they remember that shit. And I think they do because they take every single molecule in your brain and they copy it over.
You just gotta do what Kurt Russell did. Just start cutting people and, setting that shit on fire.
Yeah, lighting up the blood.
Yep.
Well, cool ass episode, and it was good. And I don't know, man. Would you like to come back and do another sometime?
Sure, man. No problem. Hey, I don't do this often, and you know what? This is actually a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. So
it's good.
Anytime you want me on, please, give me a call, give me a text or whatever, and we'll pick a movie and we'll just, I'll do my normal, you try to be the information guy and I be the guy who just talks random shit about it because it seems working.
It is working, and all this information is all randomly acquired, but yeah, I think it's accurate. I don't know. So hopefully, yeah, we'll do this again. Let's just see what the consensus is on Rotten Tomatoes once I put this thing out there. I'm only going to go by that.
Why is he talking shit about this?
All right, yo,
I'm down.
Quan, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this cool podcast and talking about Starship Troopers, and hopefully everybody's already seen it, and if they didn't, get out there and fucking watch it right now.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Mike. Hope to come back sometime, and yeah, sounds good.
I will consider it. So to all you listeners out there, remember, listenership guarantees citizenship, and the only good bug is a dead bug. All right, dude. See you later.
Yeah, man. I'll see you later.
See you at work.
Got bug.